The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine, September 25, 2023. Over the past week, Russian forces have made a determined effort to launch local counterattacks against advancing Ukrainian forces in both the Orikhiv and Bakhmut sectors. In both areas, Ukrainian forces have repelled the Russian assaults and maintained their hold on recently liberated territory. Comments posted by the Russian military community suggest extreme disillusionment among those involved in these counteroffensives, especially near Bakhmut. There are reports of poorly planned advances, lack of artillery support, and significant casualties. Over the last 9 months, the Russian force in Ukraine has proven itself capable of conducting resolute defensive operations. However, it continues to demonstrate only minimal offensive capabilities. Commanders struggle to coordinate complex joint maneuvers, concentrate sufficient artillery ammunition, and sustain high morale and an offensive spirit. Ukraine Armed Forces General Staff Update. Day 579 of Russia's full-scale military invasion of Ukraine continues. On September 25, there were 17 combat engagements. Russia launched another attack with 12 caliber cruise missiles, 2 P-800 Onyx anti-ship cruise missiles, and 19 Iranian Shahed-136 and Shahed-131 kamikaze drones on Odessa's port infrastructure. Air defense shot down 11 caliber missiles and all 19 Shahed drones. In total, Russia conducted 14 missile strikes, 57 airstrikes, and 40 multiple launch rocket system attacks on Ukrainian positions and civilian targets. Regrettably, Russian terrorist attacks resulted in civilian casualties and injuries. Residential buildings, a hotel, a kindergarten, and other civilian infrastructure were destroyed or damaged. The operational situation in eastern and southern Ukraine remains difficult. In the Volyn and Polisia regions, there are no significant changes or signs of Russian offensive group formation. Certain Belarusian units continue tasks near the Ukrainian border. In Siversky and Sloboshansky, Russia maintains a military presence near the border, shells Ukrainian settlements from Russia, and increases minefield density along the state border. Russia conducted airstrikes near Leonivka, Chernihiv Oblast, Popivka, and Ponomarenki, Sumy Oblast. Over 25 settlements suffered Russian artillery and mortar fire. On the Kupiansk axis, Russia launched airstrikes near Sinkivka, Ivanivka, Kislivka, Kharkiv Oblast. Over 10 settlements endured Russian shelling. On the Lyman axis, Russia conducted airstrikes near Nadia, Novoselivka, Bilohorivka, Luhansk Oblast, and Spern, Vasyukivka, Donetsk Oblast. Over 15 settlements suffered artillery and mortar fire. On the Bakhmut axis, Ukraine repelled a Russian attack near Klishchivka, Donetsk Oblast. Russia launched an airstrike near Pivnitsna. Over 25 settlements underwent Russian shelling. On the Avdiivka axis, Russia shelled over 10 settlements. On the Marinka axis, Ukraine repelled 7 Russian attacks near Marinka on September 25. Russia unsuccessfully attempted to regain lost ground near Novomikhailivka, launching an airstrike. Over 10 settlements suffered shelling. On the Shakhtarsk axis, Russia conducted an airstrike near Urazhaini and shelled about 10 settlements. In the Zaporizhia region, Russia launched airstrikes near Verbov and Robotyne and shelled about 30 settlements. On the Kherson axis, Russia struck Berislav, Odrodokamyanska, Olhivka, Lvov, and shelled about 10 settlements. Ukraine continues offensive operations towards Melitopol and inflicting losses on Russian occupiers across the front line. On September 25, Ukraine's Air Force launched 11 airstrikes on Russian troops, weapons, and equipment, and 1 strike on an anti-aircraft system. Missile forces struck 9 artillery systems, 1 weapons depot, 1 electronic warfare station, and 1 concentration of equipment. The Institute for the Study of War Russian Offensive Campaign Assessment. The tactical situation in Verbov remains uncertain amid ongoing Ukrainian offensive operations in western Zaporizhia Oblast on September 25. The Ukrainian General Staff reported continued offensive actions towards Melitopol, western Zaporizhia, and assaults around Bakhmut, inflicting losses on Russian personnel and equipment, while exhausting forces along the entire front line. Russian sources claimed Ukrainian forces reached northern Verbov, 18 kilometers southeast of Orikhiv, but were pushed back to original positions. However, they have yet to address claims from a purported Russian Airborne Forces affiliated source that Ukraine controls half of Verbov as of September 24. The unclear situation around Verbov highlights the opacity of the operational picture in this area. Independent verification remains challenging, but Ukraine likely seeks to maintain momentum through localized gains that accumulate into broader territorial seizures. Russia likely aims to obscure details to avoid implications of further Ukrainian advances. The coming days may reveal more as offensives continue, and one side secures a firmer hold on Verbov. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces reported a precision strike on September 22, killed 34 Russian officers at the Black Sea Fleet headquarters in occupied Sevastopol, including Admiral Viktor Sokolov. Ukraine reportedly struck the Kalino airfield and a Russian Federal Security Service FSB building in Kursk Oblast during drone attacks on September 24. Russia conducted Shahed 136 and Shahed 131 drone and missile strikes overnight September 24, the 25 targeting Ukrainian port, grain, and military infrastructure. President Zelensky confirmed U.S.-provided Abrams tanks have arrived in Ukraine. Russia continues military buildup efforts suited for Ukraine fighting. Armenia and Russia deflect blame over Nagorno-Karabakh surrender amid deteriorating relations. Russia pursued unsuccessful offensives near Bakhmut, Avdiivka, Donetsk City, and western Zaporizhia. Ukraine conducted offensives near Bakhmut, Donetsk-Zaporizhia border, and western Zaporizhia without confirmed gains. Russia persists in deporting children from occupied Ukraine. Russia is struggling to make gains through renewed offensives even as it bombards civilian infrastructure. Ukraine continues localized counteroffensives to regain territory while receiving Western military aid. Tensions grow over occupied regions as Russia attempts cultural assimilation. Ukraine Matters Update. Tokmak area. Ukraine is continuing their offensive towards Tokmak to cut off a key road. Russia sent depleted reinforcements 2 to 3 weeks ago that Ukraine has now worn down through attrition. Ukraine is now gaining ground on the flanks, putting more pressure on Russian forces. First defensive line. This refers to 2 anti-tank trench lines with mines that Russia has fortified. Ukraine has now established a 6 kilometers gap between the trench lines, allowing them to move heavy equipment through. The first defensive line has been penetrated in multiple areas. Bakhmut area. Ukraine is binding Russian resources here but not reinforcing it heavily themselves. Several villages near Bakhmut have been liberated recently, such as Kodyma, Andriivka, and Bilohorivka. This pushes Russian defenses back and enables Ukraine to threaten supply lines. Reinforcements. Russia is now pulling forces from the north to reinforce Bakhmut instead. This gives initiative fully to Ukraine without worrying about counterattacks. Russia is also deploying undertrained units, showing their lack of offensive capability. New Ukrainian capabilities. Storm Shadow, Taurus missiles, and 300 km ATACMS missiles from the US are being provided to Ukraine. These will enable strikes deeper in occupied territory.